Hello, it's Chris Ann from the Healing Tree. I just wanted to talk about some major alignments that are happening on December 21st, the winter solstice. We have a few events that are occurring. One of the major players is the Great Conjunction, the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. It's going to show up in the night sky as a beautiful star. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the energy and what it's bringing forward for people so they can understand, some of the feelings that they might be feeling inside, physically, mentally, spiritually. So we have Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. It's kind of like a big deal. Because this only comes along every 20 years. And they're beautiful planets. They are the two largest and the slowest moving planets that are in our solar system, making this conjunction happening once every 20 years. And it happens to be in Aquarius this year. So the conjunction, what does the word conjunction mean? It means when two different planets are lined up together in the same sign. Like I said, it's going to be in the sign of Aquarius, making this a hyper-focused, two blended energies that are very potent and very powerful influences. It's the most powerful aspect which brings change. So consider this a cosmic cocktail. It is going to knock your socks off, just a lot of major life changes happen under this influence, or like that thought happens like you need change, or, it's like you just wake up one day and you're like, this isn't working for me. And life just starts shifting. You start like remapping your life. So it's the only way I can explain it. So now I'm going to talk about Jupiter. The planet Jupiter is the fifth planet from the sun. Jupiter is all about growth, expansion, healing, prosperity, luck, good fortune, miracles. It governs big businesses, wealth, higher education, religion, law. Then we have the planet Saturn. Now Saturn is the sixth planet from the sun, and it's the second largest after Jupiter. Saturn rules Capricorn. And so this planet is associated with restriction and authority and limitations. Like I said before, Saturn's like the dad, that authoritarian figure that he's always putting limitations and restrictions on you, So this brings about structure, rules, regulations, self-control, boundaries, responsibilities. This is not a pleasant aspect to be in, but it is meant to teach us lessons so we can grow and move on and learn from it and move forward. So Pluto also is going to be a little bit of a player in this as well. So that's a dwarfy type planet. It's the ninth planet from the sun. Pluto is the god of the underworld, ruled by Scorpio. So it's really Pluto is all about death and rebirth. It's purge, releasing buried power. It's core truths. It's things that are hidden that are being brought to light. It's upheaval, power struggles of control issues. So when you have Pluto in a chart, it just means there's major change about to happen and huge transformations. So transform, power, fear, dread, darkness, death and rebirth, upheaval, and unearthing are the key words with the planet Pluto. So this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction aligns, like I said, every 20 years. They call it the Great Conjunction. So Saturn being in Aquarius on December 21st, aka winter solstice, this is the highlight and focus. It's all about rebuilding and reforming your energies and visions on a humanitarian impulses and contributions to society through technology development, causes, friendships, or alliances. Now this alliance is going to set the stage for major shifts or changes and moving us into the future. So the focus is all about structure, balance, solid framework, and optimistic, lofty goals. So again, this is a 20-year transit. So it's really the beginning of a whole new era. Okay? So we have Jupiter, Pluto. Jupiter is all about expanding. Saturn is all about restricting. And then Pluto is this big transformation that happens between these two energies that are coming together, right? They're fighting. It's almost like they're literally like fighting for first place, because Jupiter just wants to expand and grow up and grow out. And then you got Saturn being like, no, like, you know, like the kids want to grow up and grow out and the parents want to hold on to them. And Aquarian energy is like this little inner rebel, the inner teenager who's like saying, F you, I'm going to do it my way. So there's this battle of forces and battle of wills going on. You know, these energies are just like two combustible energies ready to, and that's what brings that catalyst of change. So it's just a dynamic aspect. It's abundant potential for healing and regeneration. Like I said, things have to fall apart to come together, right? In order to rebuild something, you have to tear the old shit down and start, you know, again. So it's really about letting go of the past, because the past is no longer working for us anymore. You know, it's built on old beliefs and old systems, and it's not aligning where we're heading. So things have to be torn down or to just plant the seed and for change. That's the only way I can put it. So it's really about time to tapping into your personal potential, your personal power, and directing these energies to manifest these breakthroughs. And this is on your personal level. Okay? But I also dug a little deeper and came across some really interesting facts about presidential candidates every 20 years under this transit. It was quite interesting. Right now, it's like, so for example, you know, George W. Bush in 2001 was sworn in as the president, but then 9/11 happened. It was just major. It shook our United States, because it was like 9/11. You know, the planes hit the towers. It was catastrophic. However, the economy still managed to remain prosperous until 2008. So unfortunately, I don't think being a president under this particular transit has had good luck. Most of these presidents every 20 years has ended in some sort of tragedy or escaped tragedy through this process in this transit. I'm just gonna, so basically, so every American president over the past 200 years who was inaugurated under this particular Jupiter-Saturn conjunction was either assassinated, like I said, or escaped some sort of death, or died in the office. So, but there's actually only 2, but technically 3, who escaped this demise. One being Thomas Jefferson, and the next one being James Monroe. And the technical third one was George W. Bush. But like I said, 9/11 happened under our watch, and that was a pretty, that was hitting on our home turf, so it was personal. So, but I'm going to go down the list and tell you all the interesting 411 on it. So I'm going to start with, so we had 2001, right? And then 1981 was Ronald Reagan. He was assassinated. However, if I remember correctly, John Lennon, even though he wasn't a president, but he was a major influence, died under this particular Jupiter Saturn conjunction. So he was killed by a fan. 1963, you had JFK assassinated. and November 22nd. I'll never forget that. I mean, I wasn't born, but that was a significant presence in my life growing up. 1945, Franklin D. Roosevelt died in his 4th term of presidency. 1923, Warren Harding died at the age of 58, which was attributed to some corruption in the political cabinet. In 1900, we had William McKinley, who was shot by an anarchist who died 8 days later. In 1880, there was James Garfield, who was shot. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln was shot by John Wilkes Booth. So ultimately, there's going to be a lot of changes and darkness during this time period that's brought to light over the next 20 years or so in this transit. And like I said, now that we're moving up into this age of Aquarius and opening up to a new world, the 5D world, we're moving out of 3D into 5D. It's like their consciousness. It's not like it's hard to explain, especially if you're not understanding the spiritual aspects, but it's like just your mindset. So during this transit, they really want you to move away from fear and remain positive, because the energies in this shift, so people who are typically nervous or anxiety, I feel like we're going to feel this energy more than someone who has been in a more positive state of being. So I hope this, because this is really about where science and spirituality are going to be connecting. It's a fascinating time, really. In the same essence, it's nerve-wracking, because it's the fear of, again, the unknown of where we're headed. But, this isn't our first rodeo. History repeats itself in many different forms and layers, and we're just repeating history in a different way. So I hope this made sense, and I just hope, because I have this tendency to fall down a rabbit hole when I get into my astrology things. So it's just, like I said, it's an obsession / passion of mine. And I will roll out the next video and talk more about the age of Aquarius and where we're heading as the collective. So thank you. I'll see you in the next video.